One effect which does not clear, however, is the potential damage to the brain. Many of the inhalants, especially the solvents, have the potential of washing away the very specialized fat compounds found in the brain. This fat is the covering around each of the brain cells. When this fat is lost, the brain cell dies. Long-term use can result in permanent brain damage, some of which may seriously impact on the long-term development of the user. The volatile solvents possesses moderate to high psychological dependence ability and moderate to low physical dependence ability. Although symptoms such as nausea, depression, insomnia, and loss of appetite have been noted in users after discontinuation, an indication of a possible inhalant withdrawal. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Recovery Couch. I'm your host, Brandon Couch, and today we're going to continue where we left off with our series of learning together. The last series episode, we talked about narcotics and the physical effects of narcotics, designer narcotics, the history of narcotics. And today we're going to jump into inhalants. We're going to discuss just some brief information about inhalants. We're going to talk about the facts of inhalants, the seriousness and the danger of inhalants, and the history, plus acute physical effects of inhalants. Stay tuned. This is going to be an informative episode as always. I'm excited that you joined us. This is Christmas week 2025. So I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we will return to this information about inhalants right after a brief word from our sponsors. The Recovery Couch is brought to you by J.B. Davis at South Dayton Toyota. JB and his team are extremely qualified at putting people in the cars that they need. Not only that, but JB and his team are honest and they work with integrity. To get into the car that you want today, call JB Davis and his team at South Dayton Toyota. This episode is also brought to you by Greg Swartz at Remax Victory and Affiliates for integrity service and a realtor you can trust. Contact Greg Swartz at 937-477-8975 today. Inhalants, often looked at like they're not that serious. They're not as big of a deal as street drugs. But unfortunately, the truth is that they are. They're very serious. And you run the risk of death if you do choose to use inhalants. So what are inhalants? Well, they're a large group of chemicals which include solvents, aerosols, gases, and nitrates. Inhalants typically are CNS depressants, meaning they depress your central nervous system. So that's going to be more of like what an alcohol does as opposed to what a speed or a stimulant does. Inhalants are rarely thought of as drugs. And I think this is where inhalants get misunderstood. Because inhalants are typically found over the counter, many adolescents use these drugs without raising the suspicion of their parents. So this is a highly used drug in adolescents, unfortunately. Moderate use of inhalants can create an effect similar to alcohol, which we discussed already. Inhalants create both physical and psychological dependence. That's where they become serious. You can become physically and psychologically dependent on inhalants. Inhalants can produce immediate death for the user, a term called sudden sniffing death. So many people that I know that know inhalants have not really classified them as dangerous, and the truth is that it's extremely dangerous. It can produce immediate death for the person using it. Some other facts on inhalants are they are a diverse group of drugs. They are breathable chemicals that produce mind and mood-altering effects. Inhalants, such as products like cleaners, cosmetics, paint solvents, glues, motor fuels, and aerosol sprays. Those are the different over-the-counter inhalants. Several hundred such products are available in the marketplace, and many are available at home, unfortunately. Since most of these products were never intended to be used for medical or recreational use, many people do not even think of them as drugs. So you buy it to clean your computer, and meanwhile, what's sitting in your cabinet space could be used as an inhalant drug. One of the major concerns related to inhalant use is the fact that these products tend to be used and abused by adolescent and pre-adolescent populations. Many adults either ignore the abuse potential of such substances or don't understand the reasoning behind such use. The following are some reasons why this population tends to abuse such substances. 1. Inhalants are some of the most readily available high producers. While such drugs as alcohol may be readily available at home, there are many more types of inhalants available, and their absence from the home may not be noticed, as opposed to the alcohol bottles missing half the bottle the parents would notice. Most households have aerosol cans of paint, gasoline, thinner, or even such products as fingernail polish or polish remover or various glue products. Inhalants tend to be more reliably intoxicating than even marijuana, without the telltale odors and lingering effects. The number 2 reason why this population tends to abuse inhalants. Inhalants are inexpensive. Whereas many other types of drugs may cost from a few to several dollars, there are a variety of products that can be inhaled which sell for under $1. The number 3 reason. Many of the inhalants are legal. Although some states or local communities may have laws related to selling certain aerosol paint products or commercial glues, anyone at any age can buy such products like fingernail polish, polish remover, gasoline, liquid paper, and the like. The number 4 reason. Inhalants are packaged compactly. A tube of plastic cement, a bottle of liquid paper, or a can of lighter fluid fit neatly into a pocket and can intoxicate as readily as a quart of vodka. The number 5 reason. Inhalants work quickly and don't last too long. A few deep inhalations bring on the intoxicated state. Drugs which are absorbed by the lungs reach the brain in seconds, almost as rapidly as those administered IV. The number 6 reason. The hangover from inhalants is not as bad as most drugs. The most common complaint after using such drugs is generally a headache. Inhalants are generally divided into 3 categories, all of which are potentially hazardous to the user. Number 1, commercial solvents such as toluene, xylene, benzene, naphtha, acetone, and carbon tetrachloride. Number 2, aerosols are particles suspended in gas. These mixtures are generally the propellant gases found in many households and commercial sprays. They contain various hydrocarbons such as freon and are found in products like cooking sprays, glass chillers, spray paints, hairsprays, and aerosol whipped cream. Freon is also used in refrigerators and air conditioners and can be purchased in the most Freon is also used in refrigerators and air conditioners and can be purchased in most automotive supply stores for under $1. There are 2 other available products that would fit in the aerosol category. One is a drug called amyl nitrate. Crystals of the drug are placed in a cloth-covered glass capsule that is snapped in 2 and inhaled. It is commonly used in the treatment of heart patients to relieve the pain associated with angina by expanding the coronary artery. It expands arteries in the brain, resulting in a flushing sensation and lightheadedness. This drug is commonly referred to as a popper or snapper and has long been used on the street as an enhancement for sexual intercourse. The other product is butyl nitrate, a substance which is legally manufactured and sold as a room odorizer or liquid incense. Its cost is around $5. When inhaled, it produces a short high. It is clear yellow liquid packaged in small containers and is sold by the name of Rush or Locker Room. The odor is comparable to the smell of dirty sweat socks or rotting apples. It's pretty nasty. This product is available in many communities, especially in stores known as head shops, which sell a variety of drug paraphernalia. And then number 3, anesthetics such as chloroform, ether, and halothane, as well as nitrous oxide, are abused inhalants. Most are available in doctor and dentist offices or can be found in medical supply companies. Also, whippets of nitric oxide can be purchased for home whipped cream machines. The subtle nature of use and many adults' reluctance to acknowledge such use make inhalants relatively popular with young age groups. The following is an example from my own experience of how easily such abuse is missed. So the author writes this, the author of this book says, while giving a talk to a group of 6th grade students at a local school, I observed a young student in the front row who had a styrofoam cup which was decorated in multiple rings of colors. After the talk, I asked his teacher about this. She reported to me that little Johnny was an artistic student. Every day at the start of school, he would obtain a large styrofoam cup from the teacher's lounge. Then he would proceed to decorate the cup with magic markers. He would carry the cup all day and continue to decorate the cup until the end of school. She thought this was cute and thought nothing of it. I pointed out to her that this wasn't cute, that this child was inhaling the vapors from the magic markers which were soaked into the styrofoam. While giving my talk, he had placed his nose over the cup and taken several deep breaths. The teacher wanted to disagree, but in reviewing the child's progress in school during the semester, it was obvious that his grades and conduct had changed. So we're not trying to give people ideas about how to get high, but we are trying to spread awareness, because greater awareness of the abuse potential of such products is important if we are to assist youngsters who are involved in such behavior. We need to be able to know the warning signs. We need to be able to know what to look for in order to help these children not get involved in the wrong things that can mess up their neurobiology and their brain chemicals at such an early age. Many chemical dependency specialists see inhalant use as being the most dangerous form of drug use we deal with, particularly because of the immediate effect they have on the body as well as the long-term damage on the brain. So let's discuss the brief history of inhalants. Inhalant abuse has a relatively short history compared to other drugs of abuse, even though there are reports of the use of inhalants in ancient Greek cultures. The majority of reports focus more on the last 200 years. Ether was discovered in the late 18th century. It was used as both a solvent and a medicine. It has become a popular alternative to alcohol. A few drops, either inhaled or drank, would produce intoxication. Nitric oxide and chloroform were discovered in the 19th century and also used as a more fashionable form of intoxication. Reports of sniffing gasoline began to appear in the 1930s, but it was not until the 1960s that more widespread use of many additional products was reported. Due to the expanding use of many types of drugs, inhalants became a cheap high, and many products were experimented with. Such products include adhesives such as rubber cement, aerosol sprays which contain ethanol, isopropanol, toluene, and xylene, antifreeze composed of glycols, methanol, and isopropanol, degreasers which may contain isopropanol, acetate, methyl ethyl ketone, benzene, toluene, xylene, methylene, chloride, and trichloroethylene. Fingernail polish is another one. Foam dispensers, which may be propelled by nitrous oxide. Gasoline. Glue products, which contain naphtha, petroleum distillates, toluene, or ethyl acetate, lacquer and paint removers, which contain naphtha, toluene, methanol, benzene, and acetone, lighter fluid, which contains naphtha, model cements, which contain ethanol, isopropanol, acetone, toluene, and xylene, nail polish remover, which contains acetone, paint thinners, which contains methanol, ethanol, isopropanol, acetine, naphthalene, and toluene, room deodorizers or odorizers, which may contain isoamyl nitrate or isobutyl nitrate, and spot removers and cleaning fluids containing trichloroethylene, trichloroethane, and petroleum distillates. And finally, typewriter correction fluid, primarily containing trichloroethylene and carbon tetrachloride. During this time, inhalants predominantly became the domain of adolescents and pre-adolescents. The quick, cheap high, as well as the ability to use the compounds without detection, seem to appeal to this younger population. So what are some of the acute physical effects when someone uses inhalants? Well, there's a variety of effects that are noticed, but they may vary depending on the inhalant that is used. Generally, the effects are similar to alcohol, so they come off as intoxicated like you would with alcohol, slurring words, stumbling, except that most inhalants produce more of an excitability and a delirium than would alcohol. The effects on the central nervous system are those of depression, similar to an anesthesia, and the initial use may produce nausea and vomiting. Further inhalation results in more progressive CNS depression, while disorientation and confusion may occur. Use of inhalants will result in decreased inhibitions. They will increase impulsiveness and will increase the sense of invulnerability, meaning the user will not be vulnerable. As the inhalation progresses, depression deepens, leading to decreased coordination, ataxia, stupor, seizure, or cardiac or respiratory arrest. This is where it gets dangerous. So instead of looking at it like, ooh, cheap high or a cheap way to cope, maybe we should look at it a little more like the danger that it is. During and shortly after inhalant use, the sniffer may exhibit abusive and violent behavior. Visible and auditory hallucinations, which can occur in susceptible individuals, are very colorful and vivid and often revolve around themes of fire and heat. Recovery from lower doses is usually complete in 15 minutes to a few hours. Back to the high risk of sudden death from inhalants. This is referred to as SSD, or sudden sniffing death. Inhalants interfere directly with the respiratory centers in the brain, and this interference may produce irregular heartbeats, leading to direct heart failure and possibly even death. Risk of death by suffocation also increases when users sniff fumes from plastic bags. Studies of long-term users of inhalants have reported bone marrow damage, dramatic weight loss, impaired vision, muscle paralysis, loss of memory, and inability to think clearly. These dysfunctions generally cease when sniffing stops. One effect which does not clear, however, is the potential damage to the brain. Many of the inhalants, especially the solvents, have the potential of washing away the very specialized fat compounds found in the brain. This fat is the covering around each of the brain cells. When this fat is lost, the brain cell dies. Long-term use can result in permanent brain damage, some of which may seriously impact on the long-term development of the user. The volatile solvents possesses moderate to high psychological dependence ability and moderate to low physical dependence ability. Although symptoms such as nausea, depression, insomnia, and loss of appetite have been noted in users after discontinuation, an indication of a possible inhalant withdrawal. So this is going to be a brief, informative discussion today, just to raise awareness on the dangers of inhalants, to raise awareness to parents that may not realize they have over-the-counter drugs laying around their house. Not to bring fear, not to scare anybody, but just to make people aware of the dangers of what we have in our cabinets, the dangers of what we have in our supply closets. Because you never know when somebody is going through so much that they choose to cope with something unhealthy. So thank you for listening to this informative episode. I know some of these subjects are tough. Again, we're studying out of the Getting Ready to Test, a review preparation manual for drug and alcohol credentialing. So this is basically what anybody who studies to be a substance abuse counselor would test out of this book. So this is the book that they would study. I think this is information that can help everybody. Again, we're raising awareness. That's all we're trying to do. I know some of this stuff's heavy, but my prayer is that we inform people of the dangers that, in a preventative way, so we can prevent these things from happening before they start. So that's all I got for you on the topic of inhalants. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. 2025 has been the introduction year to the Recovery Couch. And I'm so grateful for this platform, so grateful for the networking that this has given me, the opportunity to become a published author. If you haven't checked out my book, Step 4, A Journey Through Addiction, please go do so. It's a redemption story about how far I fell into my sin of coping through substance. And just the glory that God gets for bringing me out of those valleys and helping me get to the peaks of life. And I'm so grateful for that. Check that out. You can get it from my website, www.recoverycouch.com. You can also go to Amazon or Books A Million. Any of your book retailers are going to carry the book as well. But if you want to support this mission, it would be better if you bought it from www.recoverycouch.com. Again, I'm so grateful for all of you, especially my supporters, my sponsors who have made this platform possible. JB Davis with South Dayton Toyota and Greg Swartz at Remax Victory and Affiliates. Two outstanding men. I strongly encourage you to go support their missions as well. And I promise you, they'll treat you right. Until next time, please remember, you always have a seat right here on the Recovery Couch.